Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Disco Elysium with me, Bring It On. Let's browse some more books.
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinez.
I'll look at the map of Insulinda.
This large map displays archipelagos. You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. The largest in the northeast is La Caillou. You are here. Another far away in the southwest, Seminese Islands, Ile de Fantôme.
You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. I wonder if this is the clue that I need for the tattoos on the hangman's torso. What else?
Ozon, Laurentide, Fas a la Mer, Archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, all just specks of dust on the vastness of the Insulindic. On the edges of the map, the color fades into a blur of dotted lines, black and white, disintegrating into mathematics. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. It's you.
Squint first. Can you see cities on the islands?
You can. On Caillou, Revachol, a single black star. On Ozon, Fondelier, and Vilmandu. On Archipelagos, Croyan Moran, Villiers. On Seminine, Olduvai, and on Laurentide, Deora of the Seven Seas. Lost little pearls of light, tiny fires in the dark. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world of culture and commerce torn apart by history.
Look at the edges.
The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing into pale nothingness. Windy is the north azimuth. Grad is the northeast azimuth. Samara is the east azimuth. Seo is the west azimuth. Isolas, they're called. Connections to other worlds. Words past the Insulindian, unknown to you. You only know you've never been there. You have little idea what they are. Distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel almost non-existent. Whatever they are, the Isolas are immeasurably large compared to you, and very, very far away. Perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust.
I'll look at the map of Revachol.
The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center, teeming with life forms and construction. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. This is Revachol East.
And west of the river.
Houdon, it's somewhere to live. Not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forberg. It's almost as bad and much larger. Then Coal City. It's the worst.
And Martinez.
It's so small you can't even see it on the map. No, wait. There it is, north of Jamrock, the strip of coast next to the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour. It looks downright despondent. It's almost Coal City, to be honest. No, this is somewhere to be. This is all you have, but it's still something. Streets and sodium lights, the sky, the world, you're still alive.
Why is my volition at 9? All my other purple checks are at 10. I have to look and see why that's at 9. Also, I think this is the first volition check we've seen. I could be mistaken. It's the first one that I remember. Look at the map of Martinez.
It's not really a map. It's a tourist thing. A picture postcard with buildings on it, drawn from an isometric perspective. A date in the upper right corner says 48. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead. You see the jagged boxes of an industrial harbor, even the whirling in rags there.
Storekeep. Can I buy these maps?
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, you could scarcely afford them. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though.
Now, why is the one of Martinez so cheap?
That old thing. It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location that never was nor came to be. From when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue, set up those coin-operated viewers, and designed the new street lamps.
The place does not look like a successful tourist trap, does it?
What happened then?
They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinez up. All these ruins are bad for business.
Alright, I want to buy the map of Martinez.
Always good to be informed of your surroundings.
She nods. A worn and torn map of the Martinez area, dating from 48. A title on the top reads, Bienvenue à Revachol. It's a bit out of date, as it was originally created by a design studio in a failed attempt to spruce up Martinez and turn it into a fancy tourist location.
The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner.
Trace a path through the grid.
Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue Saint-Cypar, over Saint-Brun and Martinez North. Finally coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing, although the map gives no such indication itself.
So does that give me a map of the area? It does, it fills it out a bit. What is this big cube? I really like the artwork here.
The plaque on the shelf
Everyone knows the most interesting thing about fascists was their magic.
shelves full of biographies of famous people, whoever they are.
Darn, I didn't mean to interrupt the other dialogue. I'll maybe if I can...
Shelves full of
No, same
biographies
thing.
of famous people, whoever they are.
Darn. Alright, well. Storekeep. Anything of note in this shelf?
I would say... the greatest innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool, delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power.
Who or what is an innocence? Sorry, the woman hums to herself.
A very influential historical figure. But surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education.
She waves her hand, as if casting aside the thought.
The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the innocentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things.
So you recommend it?
Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one. Definitely. It's important somehow. There's something personal inside.
I could buy it. It's gonna leave me broke. I'm gonna have 3 cents if I buy this. I'll look through the display of books.
Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these seem important or relevant. It's all just vapid egoism. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High-Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook.
What's it about?
High-Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane graces the cover. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called The Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other. Next to that, Revacholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a rundown drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse, though, but not too long.
You're interrupted by the shopkeep.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce.
Alright, I'm going to buy this book. I'm probably going to regret it. I'm interested in that Greatest Innocence book.
A true cultural touchstone. Enjoy the read.
She nods. This dusty tome brings knowledge on the history of innocences. It's written by one João Paulo Salomão Lopes de Fuego, a masked fascist. Hope I read that, or pronounced all that right. Who tries to reach a conclusion on which of the innocences is the coolest in the world. I don't know if I want to read the whole book yet. We're going to hold off on that for now. We'll save that for later. Along with our, along with our ledger, because we still have to go through all of our case files and put those together.
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen over and over.
Hey, that's me. Storekeep. What's all this crime fiction?
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out.
She lowers her voice.
You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
Look through the display of books.
Crime fiction is a disgrace. An asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work of actual police officers. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during the worst days of their lives. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf?
Sure thing.
You see Dick Mullen on the job. Get Me Mullen. The Stalwart Adventures of Richard P. Mullen. Dick Mullen and the Murder in the Orchard. The Sordid Affair of Dick Mullen. A killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the Murder House. The Final Case of Dick Mullen. An Obvious Lie. Dick Mullen in the Clock Tower. The Ordeals of Dick Mullen. Dauntless Dick. Dick Mullen's Funeral Pyre. The Murder of Dick Mullen.
Dick Mullen dies.
Oh no, turns out he faked it to solve a case.
Are there any more?
Yes, there's also The Dame Who Did It. Farewell, My Mullen. Faking death seems to be a common trope in the Mullen series. The morbid tales of Dick Mullen. A dark tide turns. Tragedy calls for Dick Mullen. Another one with fake death. And, of course, Dick Mullen, the murderer. In order to catch a murderer, Dick Mullen must become the murderer. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that matters. Who is Dick Mullen?
Who is Dick Mullen?
Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity.
What do we have here? Mistaken Identity.
A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic hard-boiled phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend and has just a few days to prove his innocence.
Why does this speak to me?
Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals?
That's probably right. I'm a complicated guy, full of contradictions.
Then this is the book for you.
Alright, well, it's very, very expensive. What's back here?
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only.
She calls out from the counter. A shopkeeper. What's behind the curtains?
Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books? The books are all you care about.
She fiddles with her pendant.
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you, urging you to buy more books. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become.
Alright, ignore the curtains for now. We'll come back to that. 100%. But first, let's look at more books. Let's wander around, see if I get any more of those thought bubbles above my head. Alright.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Storekeep. What board games do you have here?
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Raubritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children.
Who are you going to play board games with? Do you have friends or family?
Do I have friends? Look at the lieutenant.
Are you actually friends? Or just colleagues thrown together by circumstance?
I don't feel as if I have any kids.
Friends are technically like family.
She fiddles with her pendant, thinking.
For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 real.
So what about all these Wirral things?
Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all.
She shudders.
I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
She looks at the table, crossing her arms. I look at the pile of Wirral-related items.
An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Catawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a Pick Your Path adventure game book titled Tales of Wirral, Cavern of Velkrag. Books in a board game section? Who wants to read books?
Anything that really catches my eye.
There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 real. That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement, so it makes sense. Nonsense for anemic Beano-clads. The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word Hyundal somewhere.
A storekeep. Tell me about the Muscle Man books.
Oh, Man from Hyundal. A very popular series of adventure novels. They're awfully immoral and violent books.
She looks at the book with some disdain. Why are they so popular?
Blood and violence, scantily clad women, epic narratives, all those mystical things he encounters. They're bound to grab those with little imagination and nothing to do.
Sounds good. Which one should I start with?
What does it matter? They're all the same. However, the customer is always right, they say.
She rolls her eyes, then fiddles with her pendant.
If you're a novice of the series, I'd recommend Hjelmdalaman, the man from Hjelmdal. It's supposed to be a good introduction to the series.
Look through the display of books.
Rows and rows of Hjelmdalamen blur your vision. You make out some titles. Man from Hjelmdal and the Mammoth Riders. Man from Hjelmdal, Return to Hjelmdal. And the Solipsistic, Man from Hjelmdal and the Hjelmdal Man.
Good God, how many are there?
Maybe 100. Man from Hjelmdal and the Sages at the End of the World. Man from Hjelmdal and the False God. Man from Hjelmdal and the Scorched Earth. Man from Hjelmdal, the Hjelmdal Colonies. Man from Hjelmdal and the Swamp Beast. Man from Hjelmdal and the Snow Crabs.
Is that all?
Not even close. Man from Hjelmdal in Hell. Man from Hjelmdal and the Forest of Slaves. Man from Hjelmdal under the lake. Man from Hjelmdal, Hjelmdal burning. There's even The Trial of Death, a pastoral combat game book set in the world of Hjelmdalaman, and so much more.
Alright, pain threshold check. Do any of the books call out to me?
A twinge at the back of your head makes you flinch. Your eye starts twitching.
What is it?
Your hand reaches toward a book with glossy cover art of the very muscular man from Hjelmdal in chains, kneeling in front of a staircase leading to a throne. A woman sits on the throne, leering at the man. She's laughing at him, belittling him. Between the throne and the Hjelmdalaman lies a bonfire, casting shadows on the wall. The shadow of the woman's headdress looks like a pair of devil horns. The title reads, Man from Hjelmdal and the Devil Woman.
Interesting.
The display rack before you is burdened under piles of Man from Hjelmdal novels.
Those are both very pricey, especially considering my current financial situation. Let's talk to the storekeep.
Welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Plaisance.
The clerk extends a greeting.
Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space.
A golden pendant hangs around the woman's neck, in the shape of what looks like a tiny fish head trapped in amber.
I'm not going to ask for money. A curious pendant you're wearing. Narrow your eyes mysteriously.
Oh yes, helps to have an anchor in these times.
She clutches the pendant and narrows her eyes as well. So, are you the owner of this store?
I am. The proudest owner of our little shop of culture.
Her voice, high-pitched, sounds familiar. You've talked to her before, through the doorbell. What if I want to buy a book?
Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go. Get back there. The books await you.
She fiddles her pendant, then waves her bony fingers directly at you. So what types of books do you have?
Everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you, don't they?
She nudges her glasses. Alright, I'll take a look then.
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved.
Who's the little girl standing outside?
Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post, doing her job like a proper girl?
I didn't talk to her, so yes, of course.
Wonderful. Did you talk to her?
Not really.
Why not? Was she not friendly enough? Were you not compelled to talk to her?
I don't know. I just walked right in here instead.
Oh yes, okay, that makes sense. It's working then. Yes. Do browse our books, sir.
She lightens up. Okay, let's change the subject.
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she nudges her glasses.
Farewell for now, book peddler. Maybe I should talk to Annette real fast, and then come back and talk to Annette, to the storekeep. I'm assuming she's a witch of some kind, or has some sort of ritual behind those curtains that's supposed to draw people in to buy books.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open.
A young girl with chubby red cheeks waves at you, smiling. Her nose is also red from the cold. Hello.
Are you interested in a new and exciting book?
She stomps her feet to feel warmer. What kind of a store is this anyway?
It's a bookstore, sir. We sell books, postcards, and some board games. It's called Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
She points at the window.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold your horses, little girl.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous. I know all these things.
You're fooling nobody.
How'd I fail that? Don't you sass me.
Sir, are you okay? You've been standing here silently for a while now.
Her voice suddenly reaches your mind. Is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. I hope they're about books.
What is your name?
My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside minding the register or organising the stock.
The girl gazes at the window, then suddenly jolts, her eyes wide, as if recalling something.
Feel free to step in and browse our wares.
And you're standing out here in the cold because...
I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance and biographies of famous people.
She nods eagerly.
A sudden gush of wind turns the pages of the books on the counters. She covers her face, smiling. But she's cold.
You're cold. Can I help in some way?
Kind of you to offer, sir.
She doesn't know what else to say.
What could you do to help her anyway?
I like how this keeps coming up. By brutally dismantling the free market. Yeah, I should have a word with the store owner, maybe. You know what? Such a good trooper you are. Already learning the value of hard work. Pat her head.
Thank you, sir. I'm happy to help Mum out with the store.
She smiles and stands upright like a little soldier. Shouldn't you be at school or something?
I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running.
Isn't going to school more important than this?
Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life. You succeed.
How's the business going?
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed.
She looks over her shoulder.
Behind her, the window has been boarded up. You sense the boards creaking, twisting for a second, and some kind of doubt in her tense shoulders.
Cursed. In what way?
Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go...
She's looking for the right word. Bankrupt?
Exactly. But we've been doing fine so far.
This sounds rather serious. I should probably look into this. Narrow your eyes, look through the creaking boards on the window.
We can go into the bookstore and ask about the case, but I don't see much more to look into here.
The lieutenant makes a note in his notebook.
Yes. Please do also look at our wares inside. The postcards and board games are there, sir.
She chirps. What do you know about the other failed businesses?
Nothing really, sir. Mum doesn't allow me to sneak around in the back rooms or the cellar. I don't really know what's there.
She looks a bit disappointed. How does this curse manifest itself?
It does not manifest itself in any way. It does not exist. I liked it better when we were talking about whether it's appropriate to stand out in the freezing weather.
But Kim, the plasmic manifestations.
No such thing.
Lieutenant stands at your side, stern and serious.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, sir?
The girl looks back and forth between you two. Stroke your chin. Enough about the curse. For now.
Maybe I can tell you about some of our books instead.
Annette looks at your shaved, prickly chin. It distinctly contrasts with the oily mutton chops that surround it. What is this crime business?
Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals.
Why would anyone want to read about crime?
It's exciting to people, I guess. They get to imagine dangerous things, and it's kind of like a puzzle. or you can guess who the criminal is, or how the good guys are going to catch him.
I'm a policeman myself, by the way.
You don't look much like a policeman.
She examines you, as if to find something policeman-like. Huh. Well, what does a cop look like then?
Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen.
She points to a book cover, on which you see a strapping Vespertine officer. He stands grimly over the body of a dead woman. It's not your body that's important in police work anyway. It's your... point to your head.
Head? Yes.
No, your resilience. Not head, child. Heads.
I don't like either one of these. Grit. Total disregard for personal safety. You gotta take the pain. This Mullen guy looks like he'd run to his mom. Ain't got no balls.
That's a bit childish.
She looks at the cover illustration and frowns. No, it's too much. I don't want to say that to a little girl. I didn't want to say either one of those.
You forgot the subterfuge. You're saying this out loud.
Say what, sir?
She raises her eyebrows. Never you mind. Either way, I'm not impressed with this Mullen guy.
You don't have to be, sir. He's just a fictional character. He's no match for you.
I feel like she's being condescending. She smiles mischievously.
Maybe you can show me some real police work, sir. Like in the books.
What is romance?
It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man.
She smiles at the thought, perhaps imagining herself in that situation.
Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir.
What about a poor man getting a rich lady?
It happens, but usually the guy gets rich in the process. Or should actually be rich himself, but has lost his family property unjustly, like during the revolution or something.
I see.
Those are unhappy books, for most of the pages. People sad about what they have lost, but then it all turns out just fine in the end.
What about when both of the men are bad?
These are not very common. You can't have a choice between bad and bad. Nobody wants to read a story like that.
What if it's written really well?
Well, maybe then it's fine. Maybe if the lady then decides not to pick either, because she doesn't need a bad man. Yes, that would be interesting.
What about when everyone is poor?
That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life.
Sometimes you have to write about real life things.
Not in romance books, sir. These are about nice and pretty people, and everyone is happy in the end.
What about a book where the man and lady business doesn't work out at all?
I haven't read many of those. Maybe you should ask Mum.
Maybe I will.
I'm sure she can help out. Anything else you're curious about?
She smiles wide. That's enough romance for me. I had other questions.
Maybe some about other books?
Shrubs her chilled nose with her fist. Who are these famous people?
Oh, kings and queens and generals of old, or artists and writers, or musicians, those kinds of people. There's usually something extraordinary about them.
She scratches her cold reddened cheek, then continues.
I think that's why people read them, to find the secrets of their fame.
Seems like most people who read those books fail to get more famous from reading them.
Reading those doesn't make the readers more famous, does it?
But it does make the famous people more famous.
She smiles gleefully. Yeah, these famous people sound like a bunch of dorks.
Annette's expression remains ever so helpful, but she doesn't say anything.
Never mind. I literally had nothing else to say.
Okay.
She looks at you with her wide eyes. Can you stop calling me sir? I'm but a working man.
No, sir, I can't. It would be too tiring to refrain from it. It's already tiring enough to remember to say it all the time. It's nice of you to say I could stop, though.
I get you. I, for example, can't stop making this face. Point at your face.
That's a friendly enough face, most of the time.
Alright, let's try this. Okay, I'm going to deduce something now.
You fail to deduce anything substantial. She waits intently.
I'm a detective. I deduce that you are a girl.
Come on, anyone would notice that.
Alright, I do want to try this again. Okay, bye. See you around, Annette. I will have a word with her mother about her being out in the cold like that. Well, I don't know if she's giving her appropriate breaks or not. Come inside and get warmed up. Alright, so I'm going to call it here. Next episode, we'll speak to her again about the daughter outside, and then we're going to see if we can take a look behind these curtains. I'm definitely intrigued by this, quote, curse, and the windows that are boarded up on that side of the building. Either way, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.